Happy Monday, everyone. This is Martha from Nature Niche, and I'm coming to you on location from the beautiful Big Island of Hawaii. And we are checking out some different stops along the Hawai'i Birding Trail. So this first one is the Pu'u-Huluhulu Trail, and that is managed by the Na'alahili Trails and Access Program of the state of Hawaii's DLNR, their division of forestry and wildlife. And this site has a nice network of short family-friendly hikes on the top of a hill or cinder cone known as a pu'u. And here we have a mix of koa forest and dry mixed forest surrounded by younger black lava flow dating from 1843 and 1935. So we're at an elevation of roughly 6,500 to 6,800 feet above sea level here. And this area is a good example of a kipuka. And that's an area of land surrounded by one or more younger lava flows. And that forms when the lava flows from either the side of it flows around either the side of a hill or a ridge or an older lava dome, and it flows downslope and spreads from its source. So these forested or more vegetated areas are refugia from otherwise pretty stark surrounding lava landscape, and it's a great place to look for Hawaii's native forest birds.
So this is the website of the Hawai'i Birding Trails. And what I'd like to do over the next few weeks is share some of these sites with you. Just the beautiful landscape ecosystems of Hawaii that their wonderful birds call home, and give you a sense of the native vegetation, and how that interacts with the landform and the natural disturbances. The forest ecologist, landscape ecologist in me really wants to share some of these places with you. So I use this Hawai'i Birding Trails website to find some places to visit. And today I'll be talking about the Pu'u-Huluhulu Trail, but I'd also like to show you the Palila Forest Discovery Trail, as well as the Kalana Manu Nature Trail. And so you can use this interactive website to zoom in and gather. It helped me kind of navigate, know where different things were. So this is the site I'm talking about today. You can also go and see site details, and then also visit if there's a website available for that particular location. Sometimes they have some of the interpretive signage available. You can look at that ahead of time, get a description, and they also have trail specifications. So love this Hawai'i Birding Trail set of tools. I hope that helps you if you go exploring on the Hawaiian Islands. So this Pu'u-Huluhulu site is a 38-acre kipuka that is in the saddle region between Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa, and it was formed by a Mauna Kea eruption somewhere between 14,000 and 65,000 years ago, and it was altered again about 2,000 years ago when Mauna Loa erupted up through the cinder cone and around its base. And so there was fresh black lava from the Mauna Loa flows in the mid 1930s. So I've had to reset my landscape thinking. I'm used to thinking in like glacial action, doing the landform changes and alteration, and had to switch to volcanic activity for this particular trip. But the trails offer vast views of both Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa and the surrounding stark, lava dominated landscape. This is a view of the site from Saddle Road. It was fenced in the 1980s to help protect the forest ecosystem from a bunch of feral wildlife that have been released over the centuries and decades to the island. Things that didn't evolve there, like feral sheep and goats. This site was also subjected to cinder mining in the 1940s for the construction of the old Saddle Road. There's also threats of invasive plant species. Those were feral sheep that ran in front of us as we were driving to the site. This kipuka is a diverse community of native plants and animals, and it's an example of dry forest and temperate mixed forest, or sometimes referred to as mixed mesic forest, that's found at mid elevations where there's moderate rainfall. So they tend to be the most species rich in Hawaii, even more so than the native rainforests. And there are two dominant canopy tree species present: koa, the scientific name is Acacia koa, and ohia-lehua, which is Metrosideros polymorpha. And these same two species also dominate in rainforest, wetter rainforests in Hawaii. Koa is endemic to Hawaii and is the largest native tree species of the islands. It reaches up to 115 feet tall, and it can form almost a continuous canopy, and it tends to dominate at higher elevations where it's drier. You'll see the greatest concentration of this species around 3,000 to 6,000 feet above sea level, and it tends not to be found in the wettest of the Hawaiian forests. It's shade intolerant and grows best in clearings, and it threw me for a loop a little bit, and it turns out it has two kinds of leaves. So saplings have the true leaves, which are twice compound and feathery looking, and I think what you would expect of species related to locusts and acacias. What appear to be the leaves on the older trees are actually modified petioles. Those are called phyllodes by botanists. And the flowers are petalless. They're little yellow fuzzy balls, but they are important as a source of nectar to the endemic birds like the nectivorous eevi. Koa is a sacred tree that was used by early Hawaiians to build ocean-going canoes, surfboards, spear handles, and ukuleles. And it's much sought after in present day times by craftsmen, and it is actually protected by Hawaii state law. It appeared that you could only collect it if it were dead or dying, or salvage fallen trees with permits. They're very protective of their live trees. There is a Koa action plan in place, and only about 10% of its former cover is left. So they're certainly trying to promote the growth of this tree. It sounded like maybe even plantations of it for craftsmen use, and more plantings as restoration to help Hawaii's endemic wildlife. Ohia-lehua, or just ohia, is an endemic tree and the most common native tree you'll see in Hawaii. It comprises about 80% of Hawaii's forest landscape, and it dominates the wet rainforests, but it can occur from sea level all the way up to 8,000 feet above sea level, but it's often found greater than 1,300 feet. And it's slow growing. It tops out under ideal conditions at about 66 to 82 feet tall. Polymorpha, in its scientific name, means many forms, and it is an amazing species that can be everything from a little pioneer on recent lava flows to a shrub in montane bogs, to gnarled, stunted tree on a windswept ridge, and it can also be a tall, straight tree under the favorable conditions of the rainforest. It has smaller, round leaves and petalless flowers that are bright red, sometimes yellow, and they're brush-like clusters of stamens, and the nectar collects in the calyx cup. And this species is another really important nectar source for Hawaii's endemic nectivorous birds. They're honey creepers. And this tree species was traditionally used for poi boards and to make weapons. Its leaves were used as a medicinal tea, and leaves and flowers for lei and hula altar adornment. And it supports the native birds like apapani and mamo, whose vibrant feathers were also used for ceremonial adornments. So there's less of that today due to a recent threat of the potential to spread rapid ohia death, or ROD for short. And that's a fungus that attacks and quickly kills the ohia. And it was discovered in Hawaii in 2014, and it can spread over long distances. So it's important when you are a tourist in Hawaii and going to different natural sites that you disinfect your shoes, your gear, even like the underside of vehicles if for whatever reason you're driving around, with a 10% bleach solution or a 70% alcohol solution between sites. And a lot of the sites we were at had boot brushes and squirt bottles available with that. The ohia is so well adapted to the harsh conditions on Hawaii and its different types of landscape ecosystems. It is critical to watershed protection, with all that canopy helping to slow water down during storm events, and support the endemic wildlife like the Hawaiian honey creepers. So thanks for listening and watching. I hope you've enjoyed this tour of Pu'u Huluhulu. I will show you some more Hawaiian landscapes next week. Aloha!